Welcome to the Career by Design podcast. I'm your host, Prayer. On this podcast, I'll teach you how to design the career of your dreams while feeling empowered. I'll be sharing inspirations and strategies that will help you get results. Hi, and welcome to episode 102 of the Career by Design podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about mindset. And before we get into the episode, I just want to tell you a little bit about what's happening here in DC. Things are really starting to cool down, and as you know, it's been a really hot summer. So I'm enjoying some cloudy weather, a little bit of rain, and a nice hot cup of tea. Now, the reason that I want to talk about mindset is because I think that mindset is very directly related to results. And so a framework that I like to use with my clients and something that I use myself is this framework of results equaling mindset plus actions. And before we talk about the definition, I want to clear up some common misconceptions about mindset. So many people think that mindset is positive thinking. They think maybe it is about putting out positive vibes and a positive spin on things. It's also oftentimes confused with mindfulness. But we're going to discuss today what mindset is, what it's not, why it matters, and how to transform your mindset. So in terms of definition, I've got a few for you today. According to the Oxford Languages Dictionary, mindset is the established set of attitudes held by someone. Merriam-Webster's dictionary says that mindset is a mental attitude or inclination. Another definition is that it is a fixed state of mind. My personal belief is that mindset is the way that you think about things, right? And like we talked about earlier, it's so directly related to how you get results in your career. Some of the common mindset themes that I've seen around career look like this. I don't have enough experience. I don't have the right experience. I'm not adding the value that I want to add, or I'm not creating the impact I want to have. And career impact is measured in the amount of time. So I'd like to give you an example now of one of my wonderful clients. So I had a client who really enjoyed digital marketing, and she wanted to move her career in that direction. However, her mindset was she doesn't have any prior digital marketing experience. So I dug into her resume a little bit, and there wasn't anything digital marketing related. I know that she had been applying to jobs for about a year. And so again, going back to that framework of results equal mindset plus actions, seemed like she was taking all the actions. So what was wrong? And then it took us a couple of conversations to uncover that actually she had 2 digital marketing businesses. And why were they digital marketing businesses? Because she owned 2 fitness companies that were completely online. She had a digital product. She used digital media to promote it. And it turns out she actually had years of digital marketing experience. It's just that she didn't show this on her resume. When we talked about why, in her mind, it wasn't the right kind of experience because it was under this theme of entrepreneurship. And so she felt that it didn't really count and it didn't matter. And so this is why I think that mindset is so important, is because it's so sneaky in our thoughts. Our thoughts make it seem like, of course, this is true. If this is entrepreneurial experience, employers don't want to see this on my resume. And so just by recognizing that this is the mindset that she was coming from, the fact that she didn't have experience, allowed my client to change the way she approached everything about writing her resume, about displaying her experience on LinkedIn, and applying to jobs. And it also made her really confident because she said, wow, I actually have 5 or 6 good years of digital marketing experience, and I think that I could really apply to many different roles and land the jobs. And that's actually exactly what happened when she was finally proud and displaying her experience that she had gathered over all these years. She was able to land digital marketing jobs and interviews, and now she's landed a fantastic position that has everything that she wants on her wish list. So the other example that we talked about is not having enough experience. I have seen so many people not even apply for jobs or not even think about opportunities yet because they're waiting. They're waiting to get enough experience and to feel like, okay, I've got everything that it takes and I'm ready to jump in. And recently I was having a conversation with a really successful friend of mine who wants to move in the direction of becoming an adjunct professor. And the only thing that is stopping him was the fact that he doesn't have any experience. Now, it's so interesting because to get experience, you have to start somewhere. And when I pushed him a little bit further on this, he was waiting. He said, I'm going to wait a little bit and I'm going to see because these jobs need me to have a lot of experience, work experience, since I don't have teaching experience as a professor. And then I questioned him a little bit more. I asked him, I said, has anyone actually told you that? Have you even applied for jobs? And the interesting thing was, because he had such a mindset around not having enough experience and not having enough years, he actually wasn't even having those conversations about teaching opportunities, finding out what the requirements are. And so it can really hold us back. Now, the last example that I want to talk about is a little bit of the impact and time and also adding value. And this is an example in my own world and in my own business. So when I first launched my business, I had this notion or vision, this mindset that my impact and my value is generated by the number of clients. So naturally, that was my goal. I had this goal to work with about 4 clients every month. And what happened is in the months that I wasn't reaching those goals, I wouldn't feel good about my business. I didn't feel like my business was strong enough or that I was making the impact that I wanted to. And I also felt that I wasn't creating value. And it took me stepping back a little bit and thinking about my mindset and saying, what's the thought that I have about my business or about myself? And I started realizing that this is something that I talk to my clients about all the time. The impact that I have isn't measured in the number of clients that actually sign on with me. I'm providing value no matter what. Every single conversation that I have with a potential client, any friend that I talk to, anyone else that I'm in contact with is always creating an impact and it's always creating a value. And so that result that I was trying to create of how many signed clients I have really isn't tied back to value. And when I started thinking about it this way, my goal changed and I started thinking about my goal as how many people can I bring my message to? So I made 2 key changes. One key change was launching this podcast. I thought that this would be a great venue to really reach a lot of people and talk about the different coaching that I have, the concepts, the strategies to help people further their careers. And I also started being really bold and letting everybody know that I have this career coaching business and really kind of opening the doors for people to come and speak to me, even if they didn't sign on as a client. And those 2 changes have really created so much success for me in my business just because of the way that I look at it. So every day, I just see the number of conversations that I have, the number of people that I've talked to, and automatically that makes me feel like I'm providing a lot of value and impact. The last piece that I want to talk about is how do you transform your mindset? If you have realized that you're not getting the results that you want and you're thinking about shifting your mindset. So as basic as it may sound, the first step is to examine and think about the result that you want. If you have a set of goals for your career, that could be getting more job offers, it could be getting interviews, getting promoted, landing the dream roles and the salaries. If you're not getting that result that you want and you have been taking action, it's time to take a look at your mindset, the way that you think about things and your thoughts and your attitudes and beliefs. And a big part of it is realizing that mindset actually affects the way that you take action, right? So every action that we take and all of the stories that I talked about comes from the way that you're thinking. And so the first step is recognizing that you may not be getting the results that you want. And then the second step is thinking about the thoughts that go along with not getting the results you want. So you're taking action, you're not getting the result. What are all the thoughts that you have? So if you're applying to jobs, how do you feel? Are you thinking that you don't have enough experience? Are you thinking that it's never going to happen for you? What are the exact thoughts? And as you start observing this, also observe what comes to your mind when challenges come up. When the career situation happens, how do you think? How are you thinking about your career situation right now? If you are looking for a new job, are you thinking that your current job is terrible and that your manager is awful and that the company's vision is not going anywhere and all of these things? And I want to be really clear, there's no right or wrong, right? This is not a place for judgment. It's really just to observe, because again, if you have thoughts and beliefs, it's affecting your action, and that's what we want to diagnose and understand. So just think about that. Also, think about what happens when things go in the opposite direction. So you are applying to a lot of jobs and you're not getting callbacks for interviews. Do you have this tendency to get really down on yourself and just stop taking the actions because you feel like you're not getting the result? Or are you in that mindset, that frame of mind to say, hey, something's not working here, I'm going to make a change? Once you've done all that, it's so important to write out the thoughts that could be stopping you. I feel that writing things out makes it very real, and it also helps you identify the fact that you're probably thinking that same thought or a similar thought many, many times throughout your process and throughout the day. And I think it's really good to understand this. So write down all the thoughts that you have, right? Let them come up, write out the attitudes that you have, the beliefs, and really identify what's coming up. Now, in terms of transforming it, write out instead the thoughts that could actually support you. So if you are thinking that your current job right now is not working for you and you're just on the verge of quitting, and that's absolutely okay, by the way, try to think of things that can support you as you're trying to transition to a new job or to land interviews or job offers, right? What are the thoughts that you could have? Can you think of all of the things that you've learned in your current role, maybe over the past year, few years, however long you've been there? Can you think about the impact that you've made during that time? All of the conversations you've had, all of the people you've talked to and interacted with, colleagues, clients, any results and successes that you've had. Can you think of all of those and write them down? So again, what we're doing is we've identified the thoughts that didn't work for us, and now we are rewriting them and we are thinking about thoughts that can be supportive to us. Right? And can you think, yes, this is not the right job for me, but I am creating this wonderful process of trying to find a new job that's going to have everything that I'm interested in, where I'm making an impact, etc. The last thing that I want to leave you with is that the great thing about mindset is that just like anything else, it's a skill and it's something that can be honed with practice. So the first step is really just observing that mindset has a huge impact on your success and on getting the results you want. And after that, remember, it takes about 66 days to form a new habit. So all we want to do is observe, see what's happening, see if you're getting the result that you need, and know that you can actually change your mindset. So it's something that's developed over time, but you have the ability to change it. So I hope that this was really, really helpful to you wherever you are on your career journey. And if you have enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the Career by Design podcast. And if you've loved this episode, please also leave a 5-star review. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Career by Design podcast. I hope that the strategies I share today will help you on your journey to an amazing career. Be sure to check in next week for another episode, and for more tips, follow me on Instagram under inspiration_careers.